convoy of 6x6 trucks cuts through the Ukrainian darkness. No headlights, no radio chatter, just the low rumble of diesel engines and the weight of 6 rockets pointed at a target 82 kilometers away. A target that has no idea what's coming. The launcher pod pivots skyward. Fire control computers sync with satellites overhead. The crew chief's hand hovers over the launch sequencer. 3 seconds to ignition. 2, 1, 14:47 hours. Kherson Oblast, Ukraine. July 2022. While the world watches artillery duels play out across muddy trenches, a different kind of war is being fought in the digital shadows. One measured not in shell craters, but in precision strikes that evaporate ammunition depots, sever supply lines, and collapse command networks before the enemy even knows they've been hit. This is the war of long-range precision fires, and at its center sits a weapon system that's rewriting the rules of modern conflict. The M142 High Mobility Artillery Rocket System HIMARS, a name that's become synonymous with surgical strikes, strategic paralysis, and the kind of asymmetric advantage that can turn the tide of a peer-level war with just a handful of launchers. The stakes? Control of the deep battle, that critical space beyond the front lines where wars are actually won or lost. Logistics hubs, command posts, air defense networks, the infrastructure that keeps armies fighting. For decades, reaching these targets meant risking aircraft, committing expensive cruise missiles, or accepting the brutal calculus of artillery bombardment. HIMARS changed that equation. It gave ground commanders the ability to strike with precision at ranges previously reserved for air power, all from a platform that can be airlifted by a C-130, fired within minutes, and relocated before counter-battery radar even registers the launch point. In an era where every military planner is obsessing over anti-access/area denial, expeditionary deployment, and multi-domain operations, HIMARS represents something rare, a system that actually delivers on all 3 promises. The M142 isn't just another rocket launcher, it's an engineered answer to a problem the Army identified in 1982. The 9th Infantry Division needed something lighter and faster than the tracked M270 multiple launch rocket system. The Gulf War proved it. Getting M270s to theater took weeks while light infantry arrived first and fought without long-range fires. Lockheed Martin built HIMARS as a private venture in the early 90s. By 2005, the first operational battery stood up at Fort Bragg. The platform is deceptively simple, a 5-ton truck. 3-person crew in an NBC-protected cab. Top speed, 85 kilometers per hour. But here's where it gets interesting. That launcher pod holds 6 227mm GMLRS rockets, or 1 ATAK-MS missile. The GMLRS, GPS-guided, 90-kilogram warhead, 70 to 84-kilometer range, hits within 1 meter at maximum distance. 1 meter. That's not artillery. That's a sniper shot from 50 miles away. 8 SEMS goes further. 610mm missile, 227-kilogram warhead, 300-kilometer reach. Because HIMARS uses preloaded pods, a 3-person crew reloads all 6 rockets in 60 seconds. Fire, displace, reload. The entire kill chain takes minutes, not hours. Lockheed Martin's facility in Camden, Arkansas, has been quietly churning out these launchers for 2 decades. By late 2025, the 750th HIMARS rolled off the production line, a milestone that tells you everything about sustained demand. Originally, Lockheed was building 48 units per year. After Ukraine, they doubled that to 96. The systems achieved over 1 million operational hours with a 99% readiness rate, which in defense acquisition terms is almost unheard of. That kind of reliability is what happens when you design for simplicity. No complex hydraulic systems, no finicky electronics, just proven truck components married to a battle-tested launcher. The industrial base behind HIMARS is a case study in scaling precision manufacturing. Everything from GPS guidance chips to tungsten warhead fragments to the truck chassis itself represents a supply chain that now spans 14 allied nations and counting. Now picture this: Eastern Ukraine, August 2022. A Ukrainian HIMARS battery receives drone targeting data. A Russian ammunition depot 82 kilometers away. Stacked crates, fuel trucks, rail line high-value target. Time-sensitive, Coordinates flash across the fire control computer. The crew's already in position, hidden in a tree line. They've been moving every 2 hours, evading Russian counter-battery radar. 6 M31A1 rockets, unitary warheads. The section chief confirms the grid engagement, ripple fire, 10-second intervals. The first rocket ignites, then the second, third, fourth. The pod empties in 58 seconds. Before the last rocket clears the tree line, the HIMARS is rolling, racing for the next hide site. 82 kilometers away, the depot is about to have the worst night of the war. First, GMLRS impacts dead center, 1 meter from aim point, detonating amid artillery shells. Secondary explosions ripple outward. Second rocket hits the fuel depot. Third and fourth bracket, the munitions rail cars. Fifth strikes a command trailer. Sixth craters the access road. Time from launch to final impact, 4 minutes. The depot that supplied an entire Russian brigade is now a smoking crater. The HIMARS crew, already vanishing into the countryside, reloading on the move. This is the reality that broke the back of Russia's summer 2022 offensive. With fewer than 20 HIMARS launchers, Ukraine systematically dismantled the Russian logistics network. Ammunition depots that had been feeding the front lines for months, destroyed command posts coordinating battalion operations, erased. Bridges spanning the Dnipro River, including the critical Antonivsky crossing at Kherson, rendered unusable by precision strikes that forced Russian forces to withdraw from the western bank. By September 2022, General Mark Milley would confirm that HIMARS had struck over 400 high-value targets with devastating effect. Ukrainian commanders called it the sniper of artillery. Russian Defense Minister Shoigu declared HIMARS a priority target, then watched his forces fail to destroy a single launcher. Ukraine deployed wooden decoys that successfully drew Russian cruise missile strikes, while the real HIMARS kept firing. The system's shoot-and-scoot capability, combined with Ukrainian operational security, made it effectively invulnerable. Russia couldn't catch what it couldn't find. The strategic impact rippled far beyond the immediate battlefield. Russian forces had to push their ammunition stockpiles 80-plus kilometers back from the front, beyond HIMARS range, which gutted their artillery's effectiveness and forced them into vulnerable truck convoys that took days instead of hours to resupply forward units. Ukrainian strikes on Russian command and control nodes forced officers to operate without secure communications, making coordination nearly impossible. The precision and reach of HIMARS gave Ukraine something it desperately needed: the ability to impose costs on Russia far beyond the contact line, forcing Moscow to defend its entire operational depth instead of concentrating forces at the front. It wasn't just tactical, it was operational paralysis delivered by a system that cost a fraction of what airstrikes would have required. But HIMARS isn't just a Ukrainian success story, it's global. 14 nations now operate the system. Poland signed the largest deal, 486 launchers, $10 billion, with local assembly starting in 2026. The Baltic states coordinated a joint purchase. Estonia received its first 6 in 2025. Romania bought 54. Australia approved 48. Italy ordered 21. Norway, 16. Singapore, Jordan, UAE, all fielding HIMARS. When the Netherlands initially eyed HIMARS, but opted for Israel's PULS because Lockheed couldn't meet demand, it showed how hungry the market is for long-range precision rockets. The human element makes this industrial scale real. At Lockheed's Camden facility, the workforce building these launchers has doubled. 3-person crews from Fort Bragg to the Baltics master rapid displacement and target selection under pressure. In Ukraine, those crews operate 24/7 under constant Russian counter-strike threats, maintaining that 99% readiness rate because they know a single launcher down could mean a breakthrough on the line. There's something almost poetic about achieving dominance through precision rather than mass. For most of history, artillery meant saturation, dumping shells and hoping HIMARS inverted that. 6 rockets, 6 targets, 6 kills. It's the difference between a sledgehammer and a scalpel. The system has forced doctrinal changes worldwide. NATO is relearning long-range fires. China fielded their PCL-191 in response. Russia's modernizing Tornado-S launchers, but still can't replicate HIMARS integration, reliability, and combat-proven lethality. And the future, it's getting more lethal. The Precision Strike Missile, PRSM, will extend reach beyond 499 kilometers. With 2 PRSMs per pod, extended range GMLRS will push to 150 kilometers. Lockheed and Rheinmetall are developing GMRs, a 2-pod European variant. An autonomous multi-domain launcher, robotic HIMARS, has been prototyped. These aren't science fiction. They're in testing now, fielding planned for the late 2020s. So here's the question. If you were building the next generation of military capability, knowing what HIMARS has proven about precision, mobility, and strategic effect, would you double down on systems like this? Or would you diversify into hypersonics, directed energy, and drone swarms? Are we looking at the future of fires or the last generation of tube and rocket artillery before something radically different takes over? Let me know your take in the comments. This is DIB Dispatch, where billion-dollar defense programs meet the reality of modern warfare. Until next time.